sorry about that. There was a little glitch. What I was saying was they're going to consult with the classroom teachers, and that may or may not result in an actual referral to RTI for RTI services. It may end up being that they're giving you those strategies, and this will ultimately help build your toolbox of strategies so that you can better meet the needs of the children. If after a period of time that's not working, or if they decide right from the very beginning that this student really does need to come in for services, then they will be picked up for RTI services. But they're really going to be functioning more as a consultant, and I think this is going to be, you're going to see them find them to be so valuable. They're really going to be a great resource to our school. I think we're going to use them a little bit differently than we've used the specialist in the past. So, and I know they're excited about this. I've already actually talked to them about it. So, what we're going to do, even though we're looking at through everything through the lens of learning, student learning, we are going to have a school-wide focus for learning this year. And that school-wide focus is going to be on writing. Now, where did we get this idea for writing? Why am I saying writing? Well, over the summer, Mr. Matthews and I looked at the NJS results, plus we also analyzed the district assessments from last year, and we decided, based on both the results of those, that we are going to target writing instruction for our focus for learning. Now, it's my understanding that the last couple years you had been doing reading, and that's really great, but based on the data, I think you'll see that, and you'll agree with me, that writing really is an area that we need to be taking a closer look at. Now, we're going to do this collectively, and I definitely need your input. So I'm going to be, even though we've identified this focus, I'm going to be doing a survey. You're going to be getting a survey sent to you briefly, asking for your input about why you think our writing results, the students' writing is not where we think it should be. Okay, and what might be factors in that, and then we're going to collectively decide how we're going to go about improving that writing. So that's going to be our school-wide focus. This slide really is more for me because it helped me kind of to be able to crystallize, get a clearer understanding of what our professional development looks like. I know most of you are familiar with this format to varying degrees. There's 4 full faculty meetings per month, 2 of which will be devoted to our school-wide PD plan, which will be the writing. 1 is a supervisor's meeting, and also 1 will be a team meeting where your grade level teams will be able to meet together to talk about the team focus or work on the team focus for learning. At the grade level, there'll be 2 meetings per month that I will attend, and hopefully Mr. Matthews will join me as well. We will come, and one of them will be devoted to our school-wide professional development plan, and the other one will be an agenda item set by you, by your team, or occasionally by me or by Mr. Matthews. And I'm thinking of maybe when it's state testing time, when we have to talk about NJS or something like that. That might be a time when we set the agenda for that time. The other 2 meetings are yours for you to continue your team focus for learning. So team focus for learning, I've mentioned this a few times. I'm asking that each team develop a focus for their learning. And that can be really what it is, whatever it is that you decide as a team you'd like it to be. Maybe you want to spend some more time on EE4NJ because it's still fairly new. Maybe you want to spend some time, more time analyzing data and results, perhaps of common assessments. That's going to be up to you. Perhaps you'd like to start a book club and talk more about professional learning communities. Whatever else, that's your decision. The only thing I'm going to ask is that you submit your focus and your plans for that to me by the end of the month. And that's really for me to be able to help you so I know what your focus is so that I can better support you in your plans. Additionally, we're going to have an individual focus for learning. And what is your focus for learning? Well, last year, every year at the end of the year, you need to develop your professional growth improvement plan. You have to set your goals for next year, except for my new teachers, obviously. It's fine if you're happy and content with what you decided last year and you want to move forward with that this year. Great. I'm just asking that you let me know what that is. But you also could change it. It is flexible and you are able to change it. So now that you know what our school-wide focus is, or perhaps what your team's focus is going to be, then you might want to change what your PGIP is, and you have the ability to do that as well. And I'm going to ask that you submit your PGIP, a copy of your PGIP to me by October 4th. I'm also going to ask that you use this continuum of learning, and I will be giving you this hopefully at grade level meeting, an upcoming grade level meeting, so I can further explain it. The continuum is something that really is geared for individual student growth. And it depends on your level of need, your years of teaching. If you are a brand new teacher, you need something different than a teacher who's been teaching for many years at a grade level. If you're a teacher who's been teaching for many years but just changed grade levels, you're at a different spot of learning. So really this continuum allows me to kind of differentiate the kind of support I can give you and for your own individual growth. I'd like to just talk a couple of minutes about commitment and accountability, or just maybe a minute. How will we hold each other accountable? The school district we talked about, Newport News, Virginia, had something called lateral accountability. It was this notion that we were all in this together and that we were looking out for one another, or they looked out for one another, all for the good of student learning or for meeting their goals, which was that AYP and the accountability. I would like us to be doing the same thing. I'd like us to be holding each other accountable in a good way, okay? Lifting each other up when we need to be lifted up, celebrating with them, helping each other over those road bumps, or those bumps in the road. One of the things we're going to be instituting this year, which is new to you, is something called a peer buddy system. And this is where you're going to be partnered up with another teacher, and throughout the year, you two are going to work together to be able to help each other and support one another. And you'll be getting some more, this will be more clearly defined for you in the next few weeks. We also are going to be looking at quarterly data, that SharePoint that I mentioned to you earlier. Each quarter we'll be pulling the data and analyzing that data. Mr. Matthews and I will meet together, and then we'll meet with you, and we'll talk about why did our kids do great on Chapter 2, the Chapter 2 math assessment, or why didn't they do so great on the district reading benchmark? What are the reasons for that? So these conversations will help us to kind of get some clarity about why our students are performing the way they are. Certainly I'll be looking at lesson plans to be able to make sure that our curriculum is being implemented. And finally, I'd just like to mention the word morale. We really need to be aware of one another. Teaching is hard, it's crazy, it's really difficult to do. And we know that sometimes throughout the year we get very overwhelmed, and where we start to feel like it might be too much, right? We've all seen teachers that have reached that point. Maybe we've even had that happen to ourselves. We really need to be aware of those other teachers and reach out to them so we don't feel like we're starting to lose teachers and that they're slipping from us. That goes to the overall morale of the school, certainly on a grade level, individually and on a grade level, but really for the whole school, for the good of the school. So we want this idea that, we have this whole we're in it together mentality, and that's what we're going to work towards this year. This is a quote I'd like to use, and we're almost finished, and I love, love, love this quote about learning in rich school. So please take a moment to just read through that. Throughout my presentation, you've heard me use the word learning, student learning, school-wide learning plan, focus for learning for our teams, focus for learning for our individuals. We are a group of educators who need to be committed to learning for our students and learning for ourselves. And I love this because I love how they say the learning-enriched schools are the schools where the learning curves are steeped upwards. And that's really what I envision for our school. I want us to have a year where we're all learning, our students are learning, and we're learning together, and we're achieving some really, really great results. Finally, before we break, I'd just like to take a moment and ask you to please complete this statement. On the same page, I said what I hope will become our vision for instruction, our common vision, or our common mission, which is student learning, correct? But what I'd like us to do is to make sure that, to kind of start to build that understanding, I'd like to actually leave with this activity. So before you leave, take a few minutes to fill out this sentence. The most important quality in determining teacher effectiveness is, and we'll use this at an upcoming meeting together, and making sure that we're all sort of on the same page. You can put the cards on the basket on the way out, and you can take a few minutes to get something to eat, go to the bathroom, take a break. Any questions that you have on your Post-it notes, you can put on the parking lot, or you can keep, and we'll talk about those when we get back. Okay? Thank you so much for your time.